Right now, a man charged in a new Lisbon homicide appearing in court Friday. The charges he's facing is coming up. Plus, classes resume at Madison's Abundant Life Christian School, how December's shooting continues to impact teachers and students alike. But first, this morning, Jacob is in tracking out some more snow as well as cold on its way. We have that more ahead here on Weekend Mornings. Good morning, thanks for joining us. I'm Kyle Pazorski. It is Saturday, January 11th. Queen of R&B Mary J. Blige turns 54 today. Let's start with a look at the first one forecast. Jacob Montesano is in, like always. Good morning, Jacob.
Good morning, Kyle. Taking a look at the sunrise right now, definitely very interesting as we see, some thicker clouds straight overhead, but on the horizon, it's allowing that sun to really shine here in the state capitol. As we look out at Platteville, you can see a little bit more clear skies, but also some clouds in the distance. We are going to see kind of on and off cloud cover during the morning and then complete cloud cover later in the day. Temperatures also not too bad, a little bit above normal for the morning hours this time of the year. 26 in Madison, teens further west, so a little bit cooler for you folks around La Crosse and near the Mississippi River, but it is overall warmer than a lot of days earlier this week where we saw a lot of lows in the single digits. And also the winds are calm, so the wind chill's pretty much the exact same as the actual temperatures. Now, like I mentioned, we'll see complete cloud cover later in the day. Temperatures will be in the middle to upper 20s, light winds, so overall a pretty normal January day, pretty comfortable, all things considered. I know upper 20 is definitely still cold, but when we've been in the teens a lot with lows in the single digits and some wind, 20s and no wind is certainly not bad at all. And that's the case across the entire area today. Highs will be in the middle to upper 20s. But we are going to see some snow tonight, and we also are going to see much colder air right after the snow. I'll talk more in detail about both in just a little bit.
All right, Jacob, thank you. On to our top stories this morning. The man charged in a new Lisbon triple homicide is now in jail facing a $5 million cash bond. Video here shows Virgil Thu appearing in Juneau County Court on Friday after New Lisbon police caught him earlier in the week in Elroy. He is charged with 3 counts of first-degree homicide, one of which has a domestic abuse modifier, along with an additional 3 counts of hiding a corpse and several other charges. Just hours before Thu's arraignment on Friday, family members held a funeral for the suspect's late girlfriend, Elizabeth Kolba.
This was very bubbly and bright. Always had a smile and a hug. She brought joy to everybody around her. I tell everybody we lost an earth angel.
Officials also found 13-year-old Skyla Sorensen in a 12-year-old home at the time. Family said Kolba and the 12-year-old had a mother-daughter relationship. Thu is expected back in court in about a month. Students at the Abundant Life Christian School have returned to their classrooms for the first time since last month's school shooting. In a video sent to families ahead of the return, ALCS's principal Doug Butler said staff has been trained to offer trauma-informed care to their students. Experts tell us that the trauma isn't in the event, but in symptoms like depression, and those symptoms can be prolonged even if the traumatic event itself only lasted minutes. Turning now to those fires in California and a live look this morning as we head into the weekend. Firefighters in Los Angeles are still battling the most catastrophic wildfires the country has ever seen. Currently, at least 11 people have died out there. Amazing pictures coming in from KCBS, the CBS affiliate out there. CBS's Charlie DeMar reports from Los Angeles.
Firefighters brought in Chinooks to douse fierce flames racing towards Los Angeles neighborhoods. Residents facing the Palisades fire got new evacuation orders as the weekend began.
I took all of my family photos of my grandfather who's recently passed. Those are the only things that you can't recover, right?
Calmer winds helped firefighters gain some control of the biggest blazes on Friday, but winds are forecast to pick back up in an area that hasn't seen major rain in more than 8 months. And there's none in the forecast either.
People are watering down their homes here. They're trying to get ahead of the game. People have to come together and help out, just like in the olden days.
In the heat of a fire's first moments, phone warnings are a potential lifesaver. But 10 million residents of LA County have received multiple false emergency evacuation warnings.
I want the residents of Los Angeles region to have faith. We are doing everything we can to bring the situation under control.
Californians are demanding to know who's at fault for these wildfires that have already wiped out over 12,000 structures. This as police are cracking down on looters.
The LAPD and our law enforcement partners are actively maintaining law and order in areas impacted by the fires.
National Guard troops are helping to protect property in the evacuation zone as firefighters work to battle blazes that have already destroyed 37,000 acres. Charlie DeMar, CBS News, Los Angeles.
And the FAA has issued a temporary flight restriction over the Palisades as well as Eaton fires, banning residents from flying drones, which may affect efforts to extinguish the flames. And as the residents continue to deal with the unimaginable loss, about 17 million people in Southern California are facing health risks from the smoke. The thick smoke and ash is now drifting to communities well beyond Los Angeles. Air quality advisories are in effect as exposure to wildfire smoke can be very dangerous.
Less than a month, my lungs weren't even better from the last time. I'm still coughing from the last fire.
There's that PM 2.5, the really small particles that we inhale that can cause inflammation, but there's also a lot of noxious gases and fumes in this wildfire smoke as well, and they both can be irritating to the lungs. The small particles actually can get taken up by the bloodstream. It can actually increase risk for cardiovascular disease, heart attacks, and strokes.
Other groups at high risk for health effects from wildfire smoke include people with respiratory issues, children, the elderly, and pregnant women. Turning to Wall Street, where stocks plunged Friday following a blowout jobs report. This sell-off comes as new government data showed the economy added 256,000 jobs last month. This far exceeds economists' expectations. So as a result of the hot jobs report, investors have stronger doubts that the Federal Reserve will cut interest rates later on this month. And here's a close look at the closing numbers. The Dow tumbling 697. The NASDAQ down 317, and the S&P 500 loses 91. Sam Moore, the surviving half and higher voice of the 1960s duo Sam and Dave, that was known for such definitive hits of the era as Soul Man and Hold On, I'm Coming, has died. He was 89. His publicist said Moore died Friday due to complications while recovering from surgery. No additional details were immediately made available. Moore, who influenced musicians including Michael Jackson, Al Green, and Bruce Springsteen, was inducted with Dave Prater into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame back in 1992. Retailer Kohl's is announcing it will be closing 27 underperforming stores in 15 states by April, but none of those stores are here in Wisconsin. The move comes as the Menominee Falls, Wisconsin-based company tries to boost profitability and improve sagging sales. The stores closing are just a fraction of Kohl's 1,150 stores. Now to continuing coverage, a Dane County judge has appointed a special prosecutor to investigate animal cruelty allegations at a Mount Horror beagle breeder. The appointment follows years of alleged cruelty at Ridgeland Farms by both state and federal agencies, as well as animal activists, investigators, and former employee whistleblowers. Despite years of the alleged abuses, Ridgeland has never been held liable. Advocates are saying this is a rare opportunity for accountability at the facility.
It's been years where Ridgeland has been acting with impunity, hurting dogs, and we've just been trying to get the Dogs Day in court. And on October of last year, we finally had that, and I think the judge made the right decision. And so we're feeling very optimistic that this is the first step in getting these dogs home, getting these dogs to loving homes and outside of the horrendous conditions at Ridgeland.
Ridgeland is one of only 2 large breeders of dogs for experimentation in the U.S. The third such breeder in Vigo was shuttered after federal agents seized dogs that were in need of immediate care. They then levied the largest fine in the history of animal welfare violations. Got some news out of the state capitol. Governor Tony Evers announcing the State Building Commission has approved several critical University of Wisconsin building projects. $29 million will now be spent on the expansion of Madison's engineering building, while more than $10 million is going to renovations of Winther Hall at UW-Whitewater. Additionally, nearly $5.5 million will help complete Heritage Hall at UW-Stout. The commission's approval comes as Republican lawmakers delayed reallocating over $70 million this past December. The Kalahari Resort in Wisconsin Dells, well, it will be growing soon. Officials say they are working on an $85 million project that will span 75,000 square feet. The glass enclosed open air water park that you're seeing will feature 3 new water slides and 2 6-person raft slides, along with a 4-lane racing slide. At this time, there is no word on when the expansion will start or finish. Time now is 8:09. Still ahead here on Weekend Mornings. We meet the band Heavy Looks in our next week Morning Notes edition. Plus, Jacob is back with a look at the first storm forecast, tracking out some snow to come on this weekend. We're back in a minute.
Good morning, everybody. Here's a look at the 3 things you need to know. We are going to be seeing some light snow showers tonight and for Sunday with bitter cold temperatures after the snow moves out. And after the snow moves out, we also are going to see mostly dry conditions going forward. So here's a look at that snowfall forecast. Mostly cloudy but dry during the daytime hours. But after sunset, we'll start to see some of those snow showers move into our area. And then we're going to continue to see some snow showers throughout the night into early Sunday morning, especially for central Wisconsin. Now, once we get to around sunrise Sunday morning, a lot of the snow in southern Wisconsin will be coming to an end. We could continue to see some lingering showers. However, by the afternoon, we are going to pretty much be only seeing flurries. That consistent snow may last a little bit longer for areas to the north. And even during these afternoon hours, when we're only seeing light snow, and very light snow, I should point out, we could still be seeing some slippery road conditions. So definitely take it easy throughout the day tomorrow. Now, all the snow will clear out by Monday morning, but that's also when the temperatures are really going to start to plummet. Now, as we take a look at the accumulation forecast, forecast. Southern Wisconsin will likely see about a ½ inch of snow, a little bit more further north, about 1 to 2 for central Wisconsin, and then 2 to 4 and possibly even more as you go to northern Wisconsin, but just some light accumulation here in the southern portion of the state. Now we have an alert day for the bitter cold air that is expected early next work week, specifically Tuesday morning, where we could see wind chills near -20, and we're going to be bordering on potentially dangerous cold air as these wind chills are going to plummet, and they're going to plummet very quickly as well. So for Monday morning, it's going to be very cold with wind chills in the negative teens, with not much relief during the afternoon. The temperatures, at least the wind chills, will stay below 0. And then look at Tuesday morning. Near -20-degree wind chills are in the forecast for Madison and really for most of Wisconsin. Once again, we're not going to see a ton of relief Tuesday afternoon, and we'll have another below 0 wind chill day for Wednesday morning. But then Wednesday afternoon, it will get a little bit better, and then it's going to continue to get better for the end of the work week. Now, as far as snowfall goes, like I mentioned, we're not going to see much of it next week. But take a look at these temperature swings for next week. So highs will, on Monday and Tuesday will be around 10, possibly near 40 for Thursday and Friday. And then at the end of the 10-day forecast to start the following week, we're going to have high temperatures back in the teens to single digits. So it's going to be quite a roller coaster of temperatures, with some days potentially dangerous cold air, and then a few days after that it's going to be mild for this time of the year. So again, it's going to feel like winter, kind of like, you know, early spring, definitely not like spring-like weather, but those upper 30s are definitely going to feel very comfortable, especially after what we're going to see Monday and Tuesday, where we have an alert day for the cold air.
All right, Jacob, thank you. Got an event now for a good cause to tell you about. Today, Lucky's Bar and Grill on Lake Wisconsin, they'll be holding their second annual Beer Belly Plunge. It will raise money for the Dane and Merrimack Volunteer Fire Departments. It starts today at 11 at Lucky's, just off the Oki Bridge. In addition to money raised by the plungers, sponsors, and meat raffle, Lucky's will also be donating 10% of all their sales from 9 a.m. through 4 p.m. to the fire departments. The Burr Oak on Madison's east side frequently hosts some great local music, and that's where photojournalist Christopher Hawbaker catches up with the band Heavy Looks, giving us a glimpse of their power pop sound.
What motivates me to play is that music is my entire life. I love music, it's my #1 passion. I've been playing and listening to music since I was a little kid. Something about it just spoke to my soul as a child. I think a lot of folks in music, they can't really explain why they do it. It's just for the love of it. It's fun.
So as we've described ourselves as power pop for a long time now, it's the idea that you're writing catchy music, but you're not forgetting that rock and roll is essentially why you got into music in the first place. If you're me and most of my friends that play music. You know, guitars, drums, really driving stuff.
Heavy Looks started in 2013.
Stevens Point really is kind of the birthplace of where we all met up in UWSP.
I started DJing at the college radio station.
We were all DJs. Dirk was the music director while I was the program director.
It was one dreadful winter, and I had some drums set up in my basement.
Honestly, basement shows have always been my favorite thing in the world, and that's where these types of scenes begin. They start in basements and garages. At these types of shows, you're gonna meet the band. Like it's not like weird that you're gonna meet the band. They're just people who are at the show too, most of the time, you know. And so that experience alone, you're just like, oh wow. So we're just like all hanging out together, rather than you're at their show and they are very much like untouchable rock stars.
The Madison music scene is very vibrant. It's very cohesive, and I feel like it's a whole community.
There's so many more bands in Madison of varying genres. I could set up a show in Madison that would have like 5 different sounds and it would be 5 bands, like totally arcing everything. Right now, we're just trying to like focus this winter on like write. Get some more riffs out, get some more material out.
We're gonna take some time to work on this new album so that come summer, we're rip-roaring to go.
We love waking up to rock and roll around here. Well, our thanks to Christopher Hawbaker for that piece. You can catch Heavy Looks coming up next month at the Harmony Bar, and that will be on February 7th, beginning at 9 p.m. There will be a $10 cover. Got some health news now. People who drink coffee in the morning get a health benefit over people who drink coffee all day. A study by the European Society of Cardiology found morning coffee drinkers had a lower risk of death from cardiovascular disease and a lower mortality risk overall when compared to that of all-day coffee drinkers. One possible reason is that drinking coffee in the afternoon or evening, well, it disrupts the body's circadian rhythms. All right, coming up now on 8:20 here on your Saturday morning, still ahead. Jacob is back with a quick check of your weekend forecast. Plus, Will Oper has the 3 things you need to watch. That's next on Weekend Mornings.
As I showed a moment ago, wind chills Tuesday morning could drop to near -20. And here's a look at how quickly frostbite could occur when wind chills get this low. Now, as I mentioned, around -20 will be the wind chills during that time frame for Tuesday morning, which could cause frostbite in as little as 25 minutes. Now, it's also important to know the difference between hypothermia and frostbite. With hypothermia, there's a lot more confusion and difficulty speaking, whereas frostbite, it's just a sense of feeling numb. You also get very sleepy when you have hypothermia. Frostbite, more so with just redness or pain in the skin. You also will shiver kind of uncontrollably with hypothermia, more so than just your typical shiver when you're cold. And also the difference between frostbite and hypothermia is with hypothermia, your muscles are very stiff, whereas with frostbite, the skin feels usually firm or waxy. The point I'm trying to make is that temperatures are going to be cold enough Monday and Tuesday, especially Tuesday morning, to where frostbite could occur. Hypothermia obviously a little bit longer, but definitely bundle up out there as you head to your destination Tuesday morning.
Yeah, well, a point I get from it too is that both are bad.
Exactly.
All right, Jacob, thank you. Well, there is never a shortage of shows and films to watch on the streaming channels these days. Our Will Loper shares a few of the best in this weekend's 3 Things to Watch.
Hey, D, what's a good word? 52 in the waiting room, then it's not even 7.
Go to the front lines of an emergency room in The Pit, newly streaming on Max.
Clear. Full suction. Med student down.
Welcome to The Pit. Let's go save some lives.
Noah Wiley of ER fame stars in the medical drama that plays out a near real-time 15-hour shift over 15 episodes.
Is it always this busy?
No, it gets a lot busier. You finally processed the request.
Only took you 30 years.
What is that?
My brother's clothes from the night he died.
They were killed by ghost.
No, nobody knows what happened.
Yo, check this out.
Experience a new chapter of creepy and strange happenings in Goosebumps: The Vanishing, newly streaming on Hulu and Disney+.
Dad! Not a good time, Kevin!
Let's start with where you're from.
Calcutta.
Which part?
I'm adopted. I'm not really Indian.
And go on an emotional journey with the 2016 film Lion, newly added to Netflix.
You okay?
I had another family. A mother. A brother. I can still see their faces.
Dev Patel plays a man adopted by Australian parents who wants to track down his home and biological family in India.
It would take a lifetime to search all the stations in India.
What if you do find home and they're not even there? And you just keep searching?
I don't have a choice.
Those are the 3 things you need to watch, and this is Will Loper for Weekend Mornings.
And there's still a half an hour of news to come here on Weekend Mornings. Next, we're running through the morning's top stories. Stick around. It's 8:30 right now. Classes resume at Madison's Abundant Life Christian School. How December shooting continues to impact teachers and students. Plus, President-elect Donald Trump sentenced in his New York hush money trial. We have the details ahead. This is Weekend Mornings, and once again, thank you for joining us. I'm Kyle Pazorski. Let's start with a look at the first warm forecast. Jacob Montesano standing by with what you need to know. Hi, Jacob.
Hey, Kyle. And separate from 30 minutes ago where we saw the sun shining, now the clouds are kind of blocking it here at the state capitol. But conditions aren't too bad, all things considered. Upper 20s right now. The average low this time of year is around 12, and we've been below that earlier this week. So nice. It honestly doesn't feel that bad. In some ways, it actually feels kind of nice out there, especially because the winds are calm, so the wind chill pretty much the exact same as the actual temperatures. Now, across the region, not quite as mild as it is in Madison. We're seeing a lot of lower 20s and upper teens, but still above normal for this time of the year in terms of the low temperatures. Obviously, the high temperatures are a little bit warmer than that. And looking at the current radar, right now we are dry. There's a few light flurries still lingering, but for the most part, we still are seeing a good amount of cloud cover despite seeing dry conditions. Now, once we get to the afternoon, we're going to see almost complete cloud cover. Highs will be in the upper 20s. We aren't going to see a lot of wind throughout the day, so that is also the good news. Same case for La Crosse. Pretty normal January day, as the average high 27 degrees for Madison will be right around that, and that's going to be the case for all of southern Wisconsin. But we are going to see some snow tonight, followed by very cold temperatures and overall very up and down temperatures. I'll talk more in detail about that coming up a little bit later.
All right, Jacob, thank you. We'll check back in just a bit. Topping our news this half hour, students at Abundant Life Christian School returning to school yesterday for the first time since last month's shooting. In a video sent to families ahead of the return, ALCS's principal, Doug Butler, said staff has been trained to offer trauma-informed care to their students. Experts say that the trauma isn't in the event, but rather in symptoms like depression, and those can be prolonged even if the traumatic event itself lasted only minutes.
It's going to take a while for them to reorient themselves to this new understanding or to integrate what's happened into the way that they view themselves.
The Office of School Safety has a crisis response and recovery toolkit to support children and adults after a crisis. Yeah, we have links to those resources up right now on channel3000.com. The man charged in a new Lisbon triple homicide is now in jail, facing a $5 million cash bond. Virgil Thu appearing in Juneau County Court Friday after New Lisbon police caught him earlier in the week in Elroy. He is charged with 3 counts of first-degree homicide, one of which has a domestic abuse modifier, along with an additional 3 counts of hiding a corpse and several other charges. Thu is expected back in court in about a month. President-elect Donald Trump being formally sentenced Friday in his New York hush money case. In a brief proceeding, Judge Juan Marchand gave Trump an unconditional discharge. Trump will have a criminal record but will not face prison time or probation. Trump had faced up to 4 years in prison for the conviction, but prosecutors agreed to the unconditional discharge after Trump's presidential win.
But the fact is that I'm totally innocent. I did nothing wrong.
This is the proverbial slap on the wrist. It is symbolic. It is an acknowledgement that there was a conviction, and it is essentially no more.
And we are now just about 9 days out from the Trump inauguration. Let's take a live look now at Los Angeles. Continuing this morning, sun is coming up there. Residents are feeling the effects of this wildfire that continues out there. This is a live look from the KCBS affiliate Chopper out there. Those impacted by the fires are continuing to deal with the unimaginable loss, but a further 17 million people are also facing some health risks from this smoke. The Southern California area is filled with the thick smoke and ash and is now drifting to communities far beyond LA. Air quality advisories are in effect as exposure to wildfire smoke can be dangerous.
Less than a month, my lungs weren't even better from the last time. I'm still coughing from the last fire.
There's that PM 2.5, the really small particles that we inhale that can cause inflammation, but there's also a lot of noxious gases and fumes in this wildfire smoke as well, and they both can be irritating to the lungs. The smoke particles actually can get taken up by the bloodstream. It can actually increase risk for cardiovascular disease, heart attacks, and strokes.
Other groups at high risks for health effects from wildfire smoke include people with respiratory issues, children, the elderly, and pregnant women. Well, some sad news this morning coming in. Sam Moore, the surviving half and higher voice of the 1960s duo Sam and Dave, that was known for such definitive hits of the era such as Soul Man and Hold On, I'm Coming, has died. He was 89. His publicist said Moore died Friday morning due to complications while recovering from surgery. No additional details were immediately made available. Moore, who influenced musicians including Michael Jackson, Al Green, and Bruce Springsteen, was inducted with Dave Prater into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame back in 1992. Time now is 8:35. Still ahead, how a possible ban on TikTok could impact creators here in Wisconsin. Plus, here's a look at today's day in history.
As we continue to talk about, this winter has been a pretty dry one, despite that it has been fairly cold. But looking at this winter compared to what we normally see up until this point, we are about halfway there. We've had about 9.5 inches of snow. We average around 18.5, and there's not going to be much snow going forward. Now, looking at tonight, we'll see that snow move in after sunset and continue throughout the night. But there's going to be a lot more in northern Wisconsin and even more in the UP of Michigan. But southern Wisconsin only going to see about 1/2 inch to a full inch. Now, it could make roads a little slippery, but it's likely not going to change the narrative of the dry winter that we've been seeing, simply because it's only going to improve us by about an inch or two, probably not even a full 2 inches. But as we look at the snow going forward, it's going to be pretty dry after this snowfall tonight and tomorrow. Although the temperatures are going to be up and down, it will be pretty cold at times. It's not going to be very snowy. Now, the snow we see tonight, tomorrow could stick because of those cold temperatures, but as a whole, we're going to continue to be definitely below average in snowfall.
It was kind of a surprise to see some of the snow yesterday, and then, I mean, it's just been, like you said, a dry winter so far.
Yeah, we called for some flurries last night, but we end up getting a little bit more than expected. I don't have the numbers quite with me yet, but my guess is we saw about a half inch. I mean, it was the entire parking lot here was pretty covered.
Sure. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, we're just going to continue to have a dry winter.
All
right. Jacob, thank you. Well, next this morning, new info just in. South Korean authorities are saying the flight recorders from the passenger jet that crashed last month stopped recording about 4 minutes before the disaster. The incident killed 179 people. Officials had hoped information from the so-called black boxes would shed light on why the Jeju Airlines flight belly landed, erupting into a fireball. 2 people, the pilots, survived the crash. A majority of the U.S. Supreme Court appears to likely uphold the controversial TikTok ban. On Friday, justices heard oral arguments about the social media app's ties to China and free speech protections. In April, Congress passed a law requiring TikTok's Chinese parent company to either sell the app or face it being shut down. The law is set to take effect on January 19th. That is, unless the High Court blocks it temporarily. A final decision on the ban's implementation date could come before the justices resolve any questions, though, about the First Amendment rights. Well, in all of this, we follow it from Washington. There are some saying the move to ban the social media app could impact content creators here in Wisconsin. Jeremy Wall reports from La Crosse.
My son, y'all. I just got home from the gym. I can survive off TikTok and not have to sell mattresses a day in my life. So with them taking TikTok away, it will really take a big chunk out of my life, and I will have to figure out what to do.
Albert Washington is a salesman who owns Box Drop, a furniture store in La Crosse. Washington uses TikTok to create videos of his cat, and it's attracted a significant following at 1.5 million followers.
It's just really influenced people to show them that a cat can be a man's best friend as well, so not just a dog.
You want to come up? Washington started using TikTok in 2020 after his mother died. As a way to combat depression, he started posting videos. He's part of TikTok's Creator Rewards program, where he gets paid every time he reaches the minimum payout threshold based on a rate of per 1,000 qualified views. Some of his videos get millions of views, allowing him to make 15 to 20 grand monthly. Last April, the Senate passed a bill forcing TikTok's parent company, ByteDance, to sell or face a ban. Now, the Supreme Court is backing it.
TikTok collects unprecedented amounts of personal data. And as Justice Sotomayor noted, it's not just about the 170 million American users, but also about their non-user contacts who might not even be engaging with the platform.
Just like Washington, Cody Green is a content creator in La Crosse. He uses TikTok to raise awareness for mental health, also making a substantial amount of money from his videos.
My concern is it seems like a beginning limitation to First Amendment rights. I think the minute we start limiting where people can talk about what they want to discuss, how people talk about what they want to discuss, it to me seems like it starts raising questions about our First Amendment rights.
That's Jeremy Wall reporting from La Crosse. TikTok is scheduled to be banned in the U.S. on the 19th, unless the Supreme Court delays or blocks the measure. Well, it is now 8:45, still ahead. Jacob is back with a look of the first sworn forecast as we track out some incoming snow. You're watching Weekend Mornings.
Good morning, everybody. Here's a final look at the 3 things you need to know. We are going to be seeing some snow showers tonight and for Sunday with bitterly cold temperatures Monday and Tuesday. After the snowfall clears out tomorrow, though, we really aren't going to see much for the rest of the week and really for the foreseeable future at this point. Now, here's a look at that snowfall forecast. Mostly cloudy during the day, but we're likely not going to see snowfall until well after sunset. Probably closer to the 9 p.m. to midnight range, depending on where you are located. And then we're going to see consistent snow showers during the very early morning hours Sunday. By the time we get to sunrise, at least in southern Wisconsin, a lot of that snow will be wrapping up. We may continue to see some snow the few hours after sunrise, but for the most part, any accumulation will occur probably between midnight and around 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. But during the afternoon, we could still be seeing some flurries, so we could potentially still see some slippery roads, not just in the morning, but throughout the day. And then we're certainly going to be dry by Sunday night into Monday. Now, looking at the accumulation, we'll see about a ½ inch in southern Wisconsin. Some areas may see a full inch. The further north you go, the better chance you'll see a little bit more accumulation, 1 to 2 inches in the far northern portion of our area, 2 to 4 for northern Wisconsin, and some areas in northern Wisconsin may actually see around 5 to 6 inches with this system. So southern Wisconsin just kind of seeing a little bit of snow, not really projected to see a massive amount, but this could still impact travel conditions, especially Sunday morning, so take it easy out there. But we have an alert day for the cold weather that is going to follow, specifically Tuesday morning, where we'll see wind chills near -20, and this is kind of borderline dangerous cold. Let's take a look at the wind chill forecast. It's really going to start to drop Sunday night into Monday morning, where wind chills will be in the negative teens. And then during the day on Monday, they're going to stay below 0 with -20-degree wind chills possible for Tuesday morning. And once again, they're going to stay below 0 during the afternoon Tuesday, with another morning Wednesday where the wind chills will drop below 0. And then finally by Thursday, conditions will improve a little bit, but they're going to drop back down by the end of the 10-day forecast. And after the next 2 days, temperatures are going to be really all over the place. They're going to plummet for Monday through and Tuesday, Wednesday included, warming up Thursday, Friday, and then dropping back down towards the end of the 10-day forecast. But despite these wild temperatures, we're not really going to see much in the form of precipitation. The snow tonight and tomorrow, that will likely going to happen. And then as it clears out, there's not a great chance of rain or snow going forward. So now that may change a little bit, but for now, we're certainly not expecting anything massive. Even tonight and tomorrow, snow only going to produce about 1 inch here in Madison. So we're going to continue to be dry, and we're not going to be entirely cold, but when it is cold over the next 10 days, it's going to be really cold. Monday, Tuesday, and then towards the end of the 10-day forecast to start the following week, it looks to be very cold as well.
You can probably guess who Wisconsin's oldest rival is in men's basketball. Minnesota. The first game between the two was way back in 1900. Well, their next edition of the border battle was meeting number 212. Badgers on a 7-game win streak against the Gophers. They were down 10 right off the bat, but Stephen Crowell brought them back. The shimmy shake down low for 2+1 to tie things up. Wisconsin led by 1 at the break, and then they went on a tear in the second half. Big Steve never lost to his home state, and it'd stay that way. The triple, part of a team-high 18 from him. And speaking of that 3-ball, how about Kamari McGee? First start as a Badger, and he showed out. 15 points, 5 boards, 3 steals, and a pair of assists as Wisconsin makes it 8 straight over Minnesota with ease, thanks to a monster second half. 80-59 was the final.
Just what we could do better as a team to just make sure we're gelling and not letting them get into any rhythm. So once we had that little break where we could just go together and talk it out in the locker room, I feel like we were more prepared.
It was like, hey, we're getting good looks. We need to crank it up defensively. You know, we need to turn up the pressure on the ball. We need to, and they did that. They got some offense from their defense and got us going a little bit offensively, because I thought we had good looks in the first.
The last time Green Bay went into Philly and won in the playoffs, well, the season ended with the Packers bringing the Lombardi Trophy back home to Titletown. That year, they entered as the lowest seed in the NFC, just like this year and last year. And speaking of last season, this group knows they can win as the 7th seed because they've done it. But Jordan Love knows their success last year doesn't mean much this time around.
I think it definitely gives you confidence. You know, especially last year, it gave me a lot of confidence. I think just the way we played and executed as an offense, you know, gave us a lot of confidence in that time. But like we said, it's some new faces, a new team, and we got to go out there and do it again. You know, we can't live on, you know, what we might have did last year against the Cowboys, things like that.
And a handful of guys with Wisconsin ties were named to the NFL's All-Pro teams. The big one, Quinn Miners. The Broncos' right guard earned a first-team nod. Remember, he played football at UW-Whitewater and was drafted in the 3rd round. Former Badger Zach Bond was also named first-team All-Pro, while TJ Watt and Andrew Van Ginkel were on the 2nd team. And that's it for Morning Sports. Have a great day.
Thanks, Zach. And still ahead, got info on how to get involved in helping out the Mount Horeb FFA. Stick around. Finally this morning, something to check out this weekend. The Mount Horeb High School is hosting its annual FFA Alumni Toy Show. This year is the 32nd year for the event. Over 145 vendors will show off their goods to locals. It'll be taking place tomorrow. And on top of the toy show, there will also be a kids pedal tractor pull like you're seeing right there. All proceeds for this event go towards Future Farmers of America scholarships and sending FFA students to the Washington Leadership Conference.
FFA is not necessarily about just straight up dairy farming or beef farming or some kind of production like that. It covers vet tech and horticulture as well. So the impact of ag is greater than a lot of people can foresee it as.
The toy show runs from 8:30 to 2:30 tomorrow at the Mount Horeb High School. Admission is $3, while children 12 and under get in for free. All right, Jacob, we got one more minute for a final check of the full forecast.
Yeah, we'll see that snowfall tonight into tomorrow, probably only producing about a ½ inch to a full inch for southern Wisconsin, a little bit more the further north you go. And then that's about it for snowfall. We're looking fairly dry next week. That's the lack of snow has kind of been the story this winter, and it's also been cold, at least for January for sure, and that's going to continue, but we're also going to see a little bit of an up and down with the temperatures. We have alert day Tuesday morning for the wind chills near -20, but then we're going to have high temperatures near 40 for Thursday and Friday, and then they're going to drop back down for the start of the following week. So a little bit of everything temperature-wise while remaining pretty snowless.
All right, thank you, Jacob, and thank you all for watching. We'll be back here tomorrow morning at 6:30. We'll see you then.